Alright guys, welcome. This is Fast Track Gains and I'm here to help you accelerate your gains. This is the second episode of my second series, Hacking into the Ultimate Hypertrophy Code. This episode is all about my early intermediate phase, which is the 7th to 15th month since I started training. Now, the strength progress I made in this 8 months has slowed down significantly compared to my beginner phase, which is to be expected for any beginner. However, despite this, my muscle growth has not slowed down so much, and as such, the physique change in the end for myself was still quite impressive. However, perhaps what is even more important than the physique change is the change of my mind. So many events had occurred during this particular phase, and they really made me grow my mind substantially. And a strong and a powerful mind is equally, if not more important than that of a physique, because where the mind goes, the body will follow. In order to further develop my legs, I bought a pair of squat racks. You can see the squat rack in this photo back in February 2022. Now, I'm always quite good at doing barbell back squat, and chasing heavier weights by doing 5 reps of back squat has always been my thing. Until one day, a near-miss incident put a stop on this zest. I can still remember this near miss like it was yesterday. I was doing the barbell back squat with 75 kilos on each side, and I did 4 reps and managed to stand up, but failed to rack one side of the bar to the notch, and as a result, I tipped over. Fortunately, the weight did not crash on me. The bar slipped off my back, and the plates smashed onto the ground, only making some huge noise. But this near miss was so close to causing a serious injury to myself that I really had to chill down for a few minutes to gather my mind and ask myself this serious question. Is this lift only for ego, or is this really for my training goal? I'm not a powerlifter. What's the point for me to keep chasing heavier weights besides getting injured eventually? That day was the day that I stopped chasing free weight pure strength. From that day on, I have completely shifted my mindset from a somewhat residual power builder to a much more traditional bodybuilder. As long as I can lift some decent heavy weights, how strong I really am does not matter. What matters is how I can make the muscle grow, and if lighter weight can do the same job as heavyweight, then so be it. This mind shift has allowed me to train in a much healthier and more productive way, to continue my progress, and the fact that the cost of this critical shift was only a near miss at early intermediate phase was definitely a blessing to me. Now, before I go any further, if you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel. It takes less than a second, costs absolutely nothing, and it will help me tremendously in delivering the most efficient muscle building knowledge to the rest of the world. I really appreciate your support. Okay, back to my video. At some point on your fitness journey, you will run into some kind of nutrition limbo. Firstly, as a beginner, all you know is just chicken breast, broccoli, and rice. Because this trio has been the staple of bodybuilding nutrition for decades, and frankly, that's all you know about nutrition. And then as you progress on your nutritional learning, someone is bound to jump out and tell you that, hey, sugar is bad for your health. You should avoid sugar at all costs. And that may include cutting fruits as well because, hey, fructose is even worse than sugar. And then someone from the keto tribe is bound to jump out and tell you, hey, the only reason you get fat is because your insulin is too high, which forces your body to store energy. So, as long as your insulin level is low, calories do not matter because they cannot be stored. And only fat does not trigger insulin, so you should eat as much fat as you want, and only adequate protein, and avoid carbs at all costs. And then someone from low carb tribe is bound to jump out and tell you that keto is too drastic. But on general, most carbs are not so good for you because they spike your insulin and make you feel hungry. But saturated fat does not spike your insulin and they're very stable. So you should consume more meat with saturated fat and only eat healthy carbs. And then someone from vegan tribe will jump out and tell you that saturated fat increases your liver fat and increases your risk of cardiovascular disease. And animal protein stimulates mTOR pathway, which will cause more disease. So, you should cut out saturated fat and animal protein and consume more grains. And then, someone will jump out and tell you that, hey, gluten is terrible for your body and you should stay away from grains. And then someone will jump out and say, if you don't eat and just fast, then you will be able to enjoy this so-called benefit of autophagy. All these plausible claims made by so many professed nutritionists backed by elaborate biomechanical pathways will eventually lead you to this nutrition limbo. You don't know how to eat anymore, let alone find the best way to eat for yourself to grow more muscle. Fortunately for me, I was only stuck in this nutrition limbo for a brief period. A lot of people fell into this trap and never walked out. I once fell into the keto tribe and later changed myself to a low carb tribe and believed everything the low carb tribe said. But my epiphany came very quickly, and I was able to free myself from this bottomless swamp and redirect myself to real useful information. If you find yourself stuck in this nutrition limbo like I was and you need some guidance, I would highly recommend you only watching nutrition interviews that only has this name, one name involved. Ted Naiman. He is the final antidote against all the other online poisonous charlatans. As I progress further on my training, I have come to realize that a simple pull-up dip station is not adequate for me anymore. I need something with more exercise choices. Likewise, the stationary bike is not good enough for me for the cardio anymore. Something more whole body cardio has to come in. That's why I upgraded my home gym on my birthday as a gift to myself. A power rack with cable pulleys, dip bars, safety pins, landmine attachments, all kinds of cable attachments, and rubber flooring. And in hindsight, this may be the best setup for most people's intermediate phase training. Free weight exercises supplemented by cable exercises. With this new kit, now the exercise choices for me suddenly become much more abundant, and I was able to train in a higher volume compared to free weights only. The upgrade from the stationary bike to an elliptical was equally important. Decent amount of cardio should always be included in your training program from the very beginning. But I honestly think that at some point on your training journey, you need to have dedicated phases of focusing on increasing your cardiovascular fitness. And ellipticals, in my eyes, are probably the best weapon for this task. The new home gym might not have shined so much at my early intermediate phase, but it definitely shined at my late intermediate phase. Remember what I said at my beginner phase? I was very fortunate to have found Athlean X and I was following it for quite some time without questioning. The reason back then was if you can't follow a trustworthy source, you will be overwhelmed by the endless charlatans making the most ridiculous claims, or stuck in this trap of paralysis by analysis because of the information overload. Well, that is definitely the best advice I can give for any beginner. But when progress to early intermediate phase, as you have accumulated enough basic training knowledge, now it may be a good time for you to start finding other fitness channels, absorb new concepts, cross-reference various opinions, assimilate different ideas, and begin to create your own system. And perhaps no one can be a better example to explain this critical mental shift than the legend himself, Bruce Lee. It is well documented that he was firstly mentored by Ip Man to study Wing Chun of Kung Fu style, and that was the foundation of his martial art knowledge. However, it is also well documented that he later on practiced with so many other martial artists, absorbed their concepts, and assimilated their styles, and created his very own system in the end, Jet Kune Do. That is why he famously said this quote: adapt what is useful, reject what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. It is necessary for Bruce Lee to follow Ip Man at the very beginning, just like it is necessary for you to follow a trustworthy source at your beginner phase. But it was even more so necessary for Bruce Lee to jump out of his mentor's sphere, to study from others, create his own system, and become a legend himself. Just like it is more necessary for you to discover new channels, absorb new ideas, and create your own thinking. This critical mental shift, the earlier it happens after beginner phase, the better. And I was extremely fortunate to have this kind of mental shift at my early intermediate phase. And without a doubt, this mental shift is the single biggest harvest that I have at my early intermediate phase. Okay, at last, a physique update. I do apologize for being a philosopher for a bit too long and yapping everything about mindset. By no means this is a psychology channel. This is a physique channel. So let's get back to it. Let's stay focused on how to get jacked. So how much do I weigh in this photo? Well, I was 69 kilos when this photo was taken in December 2022. So we're talking about maybe 4 kilos of muscle growth in the span of 8 months. Like I said, although the strength progress definitely slowed down compared to my beginner phase, the muscle growth has not slowed down so much yet. Yay, what a great victory! Anyway, you can see the physical change of my physique again. My arms may still suck, but my back and shoulders have definitely improved quite a lot. And you can even vaguely see the V-taper now. And I was still quite lean, right? Maybe still under 10%, I would assume. So that gives a fat free mass index of 21.48. Hey, never in my life would I imagine that I can have a V-taper. Definitely some achievement. Not so bad, eh? Alright, that's the end result of my early intermediate phase. Please stay tuned for the next episode, my late intermediate phase. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next episode. Peace out.